15-year-old Sebastian Rogers has been missing in Sumner County for 3 days now, and we have been following that story very closely. The TBI upgraded his case to an Amber Alert last night, meaning agents think he is in imminent danger.
So far today, authorities have put out a call for more police-mounted patrols as possible, and Hendersonville Police and Wilson County Sheriff's Office have responded to that call, bringing in extra horses and people for that. And also out in the field here today have been drones, helicopters, and all-terrain vehicles. Sebastian Rogers is 15 years old with autism. He was last seen at his home on Stafford Court around midnight Sunday, wearing a black sweatshirt and sweatpants, possibly barefoot. Two of the many concerns officials are facing now is Sebastian has been off of his medication since going missing, and the temperatures are expected to continue to drop below freezing as the night goes on. I will say I've spoken to a couple residents out here who really just want to help in the search. Officials say if you do want to help search your property and your home surveillance video for any sighting of Sebastian, you can also donate packaged snacks and beverages to emergency crews working around the clock to locate Sebastian. There will be a community prayer vigil held at Northfield Church in Gallatin at 6.
It has been 453 days since now 16-year-old Sebastian Rogers vanished from his home in Hendersonville. His disappearance sparked national headlines, but now his father says the case is losing momentum. With National Missing Children's Day coming up on Sunday, he is raising his voice and demanding urgency.
Sebastian's biological father, Seth Rogers, was deeply frustrated when he spoke with me. He fears the case is going cold.
My son's been missing for 15 months, and they don't care.
Search efforts involved local police, the TBI, and the FBI. But those physical searches have since shifted to focus on the investigative side. The last press conference on the case was more than a year ago.
I would love to see them actually conducting more searches. I'd like to have some communication on the tips that have come in just with me, so that I know that when a tip comes in, I'm not following up on what job they're supposed to do. We need more than just one set of eyes on this case, but it all falls on my shoulders to ask people to help find my son.
Well, hello, my beautiful coffee club family here on TikTok. It is nice to see you all this beautiful Saturday morning. And we are covering the case of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Now, I have not talked about his case in a little bit of time here on TikTok. It's nice to see you guys. Oh, we got Teresa up in the house. Jenny, hello, Steelers lady. Good morning to you as well. Just a YouTuber of... Patty, it's nice to see you. Virgo boy, it's nice to see you as well. If you don't know who I am, again, I'm Bullhorn Betty, and I cover true crime. And this beautiful kid behind me is Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. And he disappeared from inside his locked home with only his mother and was reported missing on February 26, 2024, when he was 15 years old. He has since turned 16 years old, and nobody has seen him since the day he disappeared. There's no third-party sightings, there's no video evidence, and of course, there are no scent dogs that picked up his tracks outside of the home area. There were some false positives at the very beginning. There is a suspicious car and suspicious flashlights in the common area, appearing like they're coming out of the Proudfoot home in the middle of the night between the 25th and the 26th. Well, recently, Seth Rogers, I believe it was just yesterday, ended up speaking with the local news in the area, and he had a mouthful, because the last time any of us really heard from Seth Rogers, which is the biological father, Sebastian's dad, right, was a little while ago. And the last time we really heard anything, he was working with law enforcement and being up to date with law enforcement. And here just recently, we are learning he may not be as happy as we originally thought, because the interview on WKRN that he just did with Caitlin Quisenberry, shows a different demeanor than the one that we've seen related to his son. It's been 15 months. He seems very disappointed in the lack of searching for his son. There has been no independent searches of Sebastian outside of the 8 days that Sumner County has provided for searching. They have not provided a press conference or any type of legitimate update on this case in well over a year. And this is the largest case in Sumner County history. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But what's missing? We've got Seth Rogers out here and has been screaming from the rooftops, but the one thing that's been missing and always has been missing since the beginning of this case is the mother and stepfather's silence. They have been silent throughout this entire process except to come to media to complain about what they're going through. They have never pleaded directly to the camera for Sebastian to give them a call or pleaded to an abductor. They took off within 2 weeks and disappeared into another state while massive search efforts were underway. People asked them to come out for search efforts. They refused. There have been vigils. They refused. And then this. And then this. This is what burns me to no end. I find out just recently, May 17th, that Mr. Proudfoot is actually wanting to raise money for some guy by the name of Randy to get a track chair. To get him back in the woods. A track chair. Do you know the person that sent me that said that he does not have one public posting of Sebastian Rogers or asking to bring Sebastian home, but he has time to share posts and rally for a man to get a track chair. If you don't know what a track chair is, there you go. There's a track chair. So not one posting, not one public post about their missing stepson, but the priority is raising money for a track chair. A track chair. So we've got a lot of things. But when I heard Seth, and many of you guys know that Seth and I befriended each other over covering the case of his son. And hearing him like that, and hearing the desperation in his voice, the reality of it being 15 months, him feeling like his son has been underserved by the Sumner County Sheriff. And I have to be honest with you, I concur with some of his assessments because, let's face it, all the cases we've covered, including this Lily and Jack Sullivan case out of Nova Scotia, when they, backtrack or they stop the actual ground searches, what we see them picking up different types of local concentrated searches or something like that. We've heard nothing. We've heard crickets about the Sebastian Rogers case. And I can tell you, I've never believed a county was corrupt until I went into this county. Remember, this county conspired to have me arrested because of my content on this very case. So, thank God, all charges have been dropped, but it took a grand jury to listen to the hogwash for them to say they're not indicting. Because this corrupt county was going to push it forward, and I was going to take whatever it was and just keep pushing it until we got it out of the county. But this saved me a whole lot of time and money. So thank you, grand jury, whoever you grand jury members are. Anyways, I wanted to point to you guys because I think you guys need to go and look at that interview. If you have not already seen it, it is going to be out everywhere. Again, the last time we heard from Seth, it sounded like he was, had renewed hope in law enforcement. Well, the interview I just saw yesterday, in my opinion, appears that he's back to wanting it out of Sumner County's hands. He didn't say it like that, but you can tell he's ready to get this case moving again. So yes, thank you, me and you, for reminding everybody you can follow me for more detailed updates, which I will be going over there and doing a detailed update this morning. But we do 10 a.m. every morning on YouTube. If you guys would like to come over there and check me out, we'll be covering the case of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers this morning. But we do cover both Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers as well as Lily and Jack Sullivan in Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia, I'm finding to be a little more challenging than my normal run-of-the-mill. You know, I'm so used to doing my research the way I'm used to doing my research. Having to adjust how I research for a Canadian case has had its challenges, but I love learning new things, so I'm up for the challenge. It seems like we're doing pretty good so far, you know, as far as getting the information in, accurate information, and which is always the problem, right? So we wish he could be found. Yes, you know, and I'm just disappointed because there's a child missing, and from the outside looking in, it just doesn't seem like this law enforcement body really cares. Now, do I believe that wholeheartedly? I believe some people, I think they're faced with things we don't care about, like budgets and things like that, right? Money. When we are living in our communities, we expect when we have, you know, a need, you know, an emergency, we expect to pick up the phone, call 911, and have people show up, right? And when those people show up and we're still in need of help and they turn that spigot off, it's very, very defeating. And that's kind of what they did to the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case. They turned the spigot off. And then they stopped doing anything. You have to understand, in this time, 15 months into the case, they should have data back from all the vehicles, you know, where they're at, this GMC stuff. But even like an Alec Murdaugh case, we know that information didn't even come until, like, they were literally in trial. And all of a sudden, GM sends them the OnStar data for Alec Murdaugh while they're in trial, right? So maybe they don't have that, but they definitely have the phone records. The phone records are by far one of the first things that come in with any type of record. It's a very low, probable cause threshold that's needed to pull phone records, okay? So they're going to have phone records. Those phone records and towers are going to be sent to them within a matter of months. They're going to send that over to the FBI. The FBI plugs these things into their computer, and it puts out a model, okay? Then that's sent over to the detectives in the case. And so the detectives now have this blueprint of where this phone or phones have been and where they ping, because they correlate to find out where all these people are moving, and they do that through phone records. So if they have the phone records back, then why in the world have they not had any targeted searches? Look at Layla Santinello's case. If you guys have not heard about Layla Santinello's case, she's in the Sullivan County, Tennessee. And she was a 20-something drug-addicted mom. She's loved by her daughter, and she's loved by her mother. And thank God for both of those people. But, you know, even then, this was an adult that just disappeared, poof, vanished off the face of the earth. And even law enforcement in Sullivan County have done targeted searches in this area in 15 months. When Layla's case was 15 months old, they had several, at least 5 or 6 different targeted searches in her case by this time. And this is an adult drug-addicted person that's missing, not a 15-year-old medically needy juvenile. So, I mean, and these are both cases that are in Tennessee, so what gives? I understand, absolutely 100% understand Seth's position in all this, because he watches all these social media. He probably wasn't into true crime before his son disappeared, but he's watching all these things. He's watching Lily and Jack's case as well, right? Beach life, my thoughts on Lily and Jack's case, we're only at, the 22-day mark, 22-day mark in this case. There's not been a whole lot of actual factual information that's been provided to the public. So I'm very cautious because in lack of information, it's vague. So literally anything can happen. But what I have done is I methodically put things together. And so I think obviously the one that appears to be most probable statistically is the parents and something happening to the children before they were, like a day or two before they were reported missing. That looks like the way that the case is kind of building, but we can't disregard the fact that there may have been a house party and other individuals around these young children prior to them disappearing. So there are, and we do have a lot of work to do on the Lily and Jack case to differentiate. But to be honest with you, the parents are having a lot of red flags. Malaya, taking off and never coming back. And then I find out that she might be on a reservation and she may have taken off so she doesn't have to speak to law enforcement, because law enforcement has to get the chief's approval to go on reservation land to speak to her. So we're learning a lot about this case, but not really enough to really hone in on where I know that the case is going. Like in the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, we kind of know what happened. We're just waiting for all the information to catch up and law enforcement to get off their duff and go find Sebastian. Because the problem with Tennessee that many people don't understand is Tennessee is basically a no-body, no-crime state. They do have law where they can take circumstantial cases to trial. They have the ability to do it. But if you look at Tennessee's history, they don't. So it doesn't matter whether they have the laws to do it. It matters about their behaviors and whether they actually go forward with no-body cases. And it's very few and far between. For them to go with a no-body case, they're outliers. I think in the entire history of Tennessee, we may have 2 cases. So if they don't find Sebastian, nobody will be held accountable, in my opinion, in Sumner County. Nobody. So this whole investigation facade that they got going on, if their asses aren't out there looking for Sebastian Rogers, we're not getting any closer to knowing the truth about him, because he has to be brought home before any cuffs are put on anybody's hands. Anybody's. And right now, Seth knows that. And so he wants people to keep looking. He needs to re-energize the base. He needs to get people back talking about his son. And I understand that, and I can identify with the pain he must be going through as he's finding out, here we are 15 months later, he's had all this steam and all of this energy behind his son, and still he's got to motivate law enforcement now. He needs to motivate law enforcement. They need to be making some of these things priorities. They need to be pushing things. If they don't have everything in, and if they do have everything back in from all of the work that they did, 15 months ago, where are the targeted searches? We're going nowhere until Sebastian is brought home, no matter what condition he's in. We're going nowhere in this case until we get law enforcement off their duff or other people out in the field to physically search for Sebastian. So at the end of the day, that's where we're at in this case. I hope you guys go and check out Seth's interview. It was hard to watch because you can feel his anger and his pain. And let's just keep him in our prayers, keep Sebastian in our prayers, and pray for Lily and Jack and their family as well. I mean, we've got all these kids, and everybody wants to run to the stranger danger stuff. And at the end of the day, I'm just going to beg each and every one of you to please start reviewing statistics, because people want to believe in the lowest weighted statistic as the probability, and that's not the case. At the end of the day, children, the probability, the majority of the time, are more likely to be harmed, injured, or deceased by somebody they know, including their guardian, caretaker, or parent. than they are from a third party or stranger danger events. That is the reality. That is the reality, and that is the statistics. So when we do actually have a stranger danger, believe it or not, it's the outlier. It's the outlier. That's why we always side-eye the last person that's been in and around the person that is missing, whether they're a child or an adult. Anyways, guys, you guys have a beautiful Saturday. I am leaving. I've got to start my show on YouTube, and then I'm heading over to have a sun-filled, water-filled afternoon where I have a play date for my beautiful little Delilah. And if you guys have not seen her, I'm going to wake her up just a little bit. And then we'll put her back under the covers just so you guys can see her. We're wearing matching outfits. I have dresses for her, but when she goes over to her play dates, they get a little rough, so I don't put a dress on her. He's my little beautiful precious baby angel. She is. She just turned 1. April 25th. She's officially grown. She's growing up and I can't handle it. All right, guys, have a great day. We'll see you soon.